everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste Kitchen. I'm your host, Brittany Cascone, and today we're diving into the health and wellness sector and talking all about functional health beverages. Now, today we ask the question, why should restaurant and bar operators consider offering high-elevated, functional, non-alcoholic beverages? We've got the perfect brand to feature for you. We're talking about Kin Euphorics. Now, joining me today is Jen Batchelor. She's the Chief Euphorics Officer, or what we like to call the CEO. Welcome to the show, Jen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Of course, we're so excited to taste these. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course, yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Kin Euphorics. And, I've spent the better part of a decade learning everything there is to know about both the psychology behind, drinking and experiencing bliss through beverage, but also more importantly, the Vedic sciences. So what is happening with the full elemental body when it comes to feeling good, when it comes to our brain, our heart, and all of the integral organs that are required for feeling happy. So really getting down to the science of happiness, as well as the 3,000-year history of healing that, allows us to lower stress and just live better lives in general. So I'm a trained herbalist, and I also have background in psychology and the Vedic sciences.
That's so awesome. That's true that you're saying that like with alcoholic beverages, a lot of people drink them to feel calm. So if you could do that without the alcohol, it's a no-brainer. And you don't have to feel guilty about the calories. For sure.
That's exactly right. I didn't want you to have to pop a pill to feel good. I wanted you to be able to keep your rituals, be able to toast with your friends, and still have a way to not poison your power supply, as I like to say.
Right. Feel social and not feel guilty about it. I love
Yes.
it. Now, could you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind creating this?
Of course, yeah. So it was based on my personal story of just wanting to drink a little bit less, realizing that there were so many things I wanted out of my life, ways that I wanted to feel every single day, whether that was energized, connected, vibrant, right? And I realized that over time, the more productive I was, the busier I was, living between cities like New York and LA, the less time I had for downtime. So hangovers, headache, any of that. And so I really wanted to create something for myself, first and foremost, and my friends that could allow us to still have those social gatherings and those social connective moments together, but not have to pay so much for it later.
That's a very good point. I think a lot of us would like to be able to cut out the hangover part and be able to feel just as good the next day, just how we felt, a few hours before that. Now, let's get into changing consumers' behavior trends towards beverages that are not only low ABV or alcohol free, but also provide a functional health element. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. Yeah, and I think the way that Kin approaches it, and I can only speak very specifically to our philosophy and how we thought about this problem, but is that, we were doing a thing at one point, 2014, 2015, people started to realize, I actually feel better when I drink less. Dry January was starting to become a big trend, and people were actually realizing those benefits immediately. And so the question was to drink or not to drink. Right. Where we come in is sort of right in the middle. We still want you to go out. We still want you to have fun. But at the end of the day, we want you to know that every single penny you're spending, every single sip that you're taking in is actually benefiting you. Right. And that's the difference between, and that's the difference between alcohol or mocktails. Right. We don't call ourselves a mocktail because a traditional mocktail is 25 grams of sugar that's really mainly based on trying to mock or mimic a flavor. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're actually trying to help you experience what you just mentioned, Brittany, was that people reach for that glass of wine to feel relaxed. And we want to help you get there.
Right. And then I think too, we all, we grab for that cup of coffee. And even if we go into a restaurant, it's like most people can't even sit down for a lunch or a breakfast at a restaurant without saying, I need that cup of coffee. So to have this at their, at their beck and call would be something that would be so great to have easily in a restaurant, because we wouldn't even know what we were missing if we didn't have this.
Yes, 100%. And so that was what our goal was when we launched. We wanted to create beverages that were sophisticated enough that a bar would be excited to carry something like this rather than have to create their own juices or their own bases. We really wanted to take the guesswork out, make it really easy. As you know, the restaurant business moves really, really quickly to make sure you're getting your margins. You're moving quickly through the service experience so you can deliver the best guest and hospitality experience directed to the guest, was really our goal.
I love it. Now, could you tell us exactly what Kin Euphorics is infused with?
Absolutely. So each drink that you have in front of you there has different ingredients. The first one we started out with was the Kin High Road. That's the one in the middle.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Actually, yeah, we actually started with the spirit because we wanted to prove to people, listen, you can actually craft your own experience with just exactly this. And what this is adaptogenic herbs, nootropics, which are cognitive enhancing compounds, and functional botanics that round out the flavor of a happy hour drink. For us, our favorite happy hour drink was the Aperol Spritz. So we wanted to create a bona fide aperitif, something that opened the digestion and then also relaxed the hormonal balance. So actually brought you into balance, lowered cortisol, and relaxed the mind, and then nourished the psyche. So at the end of a long day at happy hour, we're actually depleted of two main bliss molecules, right? Two main bliss neurotransmitters called serotonin and dopamine. The nootropics and Kin High Road help you to replenish those specifically for that hour of 4, 5, 6 p.m. when we're drinking at happy hour.
Yeah, these are things that not the average person, I mean, I'm a health nut, so I know a lot about this stuff, but not the average person realizes that by the end of the day, between all the caffeine and all the stress, you're stuck in fight or flight. So again, that's why we crave those alcoholic beverages, but to have something that instead depletes us more of serotonin or dopamine, this is replenishing us. So that's awesome to find out. Amazing.
Yeah. And so we take the same approach. If you go, yes, to the blue label, the Dream Light is our nightcap. We take a very, very similar approach to that. But the question we're asking ourselves with the Dream Light is what is actually happening to us at the 9 p.m. hour when we've been showering ourselves with blue light, right? Robbing ourselves of the ability to produce melatonin naturally. Therefore, we're all, especially in this country, sleep deprived. Have a tough time either falling asleep or staying asleep. And so the purpose of this nightcap that we created is to give you that last little sip, that little tipple you can have before bed, but it actually does restore the natural balance of sleep so you can get into those deep restorative stages, 4 and 5, of sleep that help you to rebuild, help your brain be nourished, and so you can wake up feeling like $1,000,000.
I love it. I think, like I said, not a lot of people know about this, but this is something that I think you're going to see is going to become more and more of a trend. We're seeing people, like you said, that are saying it's dry January is around the corner. I need something that I'm going to start fresh. But again, to have it in a restaurant or to have it at a bar, this would be a great alternative. So we're getting to my favorite part. I have got to get into the tasting. So which one do you want to start with? Should we start with the Kin Spritz?
Yes, and I'll explain a little bit what we did with the Kin Spritz. So some folks are a bit intimidated by the craft cocktail experience. And so what we did with Spritz was we took 2 ounces of High Road, and we just made our own Kintail. So this actually has all of the benefits for the happy hour drink, but we added ginger, we added more hibiscus, and we carbonated the drink. So it's truly our version of the Aperol Spritz. Has everything you need. Less than 25 calories, less than 5 grams of sugar.
This would be one of probably my go-to. All right, here's my, let the truth be told right here, my favorite.
And so I love for this to be chilled.
Oh, wow. Yes, I put it on ice.
I see you have some ice.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is delicious. And like you said, it's giving me that carbonated flavor and that feel. But again, I don't have to feel guilty about it. Something like that would have this feel, would have just sugars alone, would be through the roof. Yes. I love how you mentioned that too. This is very low in sugar. And again, it's got things that are ingredients inside of it that are beneficial for you. So can't go wrong. Okay, now I'm going to the High Road.
And it's only 8 ounces.
Okay,
yes, yeah. Go to the High Road.
Perfect.
Yeah, I want to make a point of that because people normally, when they see a drink in a can, it's 16 ounces. You feel like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this whole thing to get the benefit. You're really getting the benefit of a cocktail, the way that cocktails are sort of served small, or a glass of wine, and no more than that. You can sort of keep the control of the experience over time.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're on to the second one. That's the High Road. And with this one, if I was reading correctly, I need 2 ounces of this and then I can fill the rest up. So I'm going to do like a little soda water with it. And then I'm going to put some fresh lemon in it.
So in the small end of the jigger, that's just 1. I just free pour.
I try to be exact for you guys here. Otherwise, I'll be all over the place.
Please do.
Okay, here we go. So 2 of these. And I'm going to fill up.
I was telling you, when I craft, I like to also add like fun little ice. I made some heart ice molds.
How cute are you? I need those. That, again, that's another thing that makes
the experience
exactly.
fun.
Now I'm going to squeeze my fresh lemon. Okay, now I'm going to put my ice because I gotta put my topper. I love everything cold. All my drinks cold.
Me too.
And this one, as far as like what it's infused with, how is it different than the Kin Spritz, let's say? Because I know, this you could drink the whole thing, but this is saying only to have the 2 ounces of it. So is there a reason why you would have less of this one?
Yes, so that's the concentrate. That's where the full stack and those 2 ounces that you put in, that's all the nutrients you're going to need for that moment,
Perfect.
right? So just as you would drink a regular cocktail or a spirit, that's a shot, exactly. So now you made your own concoction.
I love this one. I'm going to put a little more lemon because the citrus, just with it, is so good. It is so refreshing, too. Like, really, when we think about, like you're saying, feeling relaxed, having a cocktail. I mean, this is what I think of, but except I don't have to feel guilty about it, which is the best part.
Exactly.
And it's going to make me feel good. Cheers. Oh, how cute are you with your little wine glass?
I know. I have to fancy it up because truly there are some parts of the drinking ritual that are just worth preserving. Right. And we're not afraid of that. So we always if you look at some of the work that we've done, it's actually most of our fans that create the content on our social media page, and they're actually just showing us their artistry, their ability to craft a beautiful cocktail, which for us is like the point. We want you to be able to make what suits you and what makes you feel festive and helps you transition from that moment of work to play.
Now, could you tell us a little bit about the taste and flavor profile, and what cuisine do you think that this drink pairs well with?
Absolutely. So one of my best friends is a chef in New York. She has 3 restaurants. Her name's Carolina Santos Neves. And she's somebody who has done just about everything with kin. She's made ceviche with Kin Spritz as the base.
No way.
She just loves.
Wow.
Yes, because she loves the addition. So there's clove, there's gentian. She loves the idea of spicing up a dish, literally cooking with the drink. But then, of course, she's made some pairings for us that have been absolutely outstanding. So with the high road base, given that there's tartness, we call it an herbaceous tart taste, right? The flavor profile is very much hibiscus. There's blood orange bitters. You have the clove, the licorice, the spice, the traditional gentian spices of a typical aperitif. And so really this is your palate opener. So you can pair it with something salty. You can pair it with something super savory or spicy. You can also make the drink itself more in the vein of like a Negroni. So adding some of these old-fashioned type bitters, smoking it up a little bit. And then in that case, I would recommend something a little lighter, a little more citrusy for a culinary pairing. But it goes really, really well with fish dishes and certainly as your meal opener.
I love that. I love how you say it opens up the palate because, too, you can really, this one's a little bit sweeter. It does have like a bitter taste, but it's sweeter. And then this one, to me, I was like, okay, that's like I could taste the tart a little bit. So, but I like it. I really, actually, this one might be my favorite so far. I mean, obviously, there's only 2 so far, but I did like this one a lot.
You made it yourself.
You know what? Maybe I'm being a little biased here.
No, I love it. And that's the thing. We want you to craft to your own personal preference.
To have a solid base of what you want, but then be able to put your own touch on it. Because again, that's what we love to do. There's a fun, like you said, there's a fun element to drinking. I remember when I was pregnant, I was like, I just drinking water out of a wine glass made me feel like I was being social everywhere I went. It's just, there's something about it that I think we connect with and makes us feel good. But to be able to know that we're drinking something that makes us feel even better, I mean, you can't go wrong there. Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to number 3, which I think that I need this sometimes for sure at night. This one's called The Dream. Yeah. Now, could you tell us a little bit about the concept behind The Dream? How'd you come up with this one?
Yeah, so this one is actually, as I mentioned, our nightcap variety. So we all are by now very familiar with the mind-gut connection, the power of the vagus nerve to impact from our bellies to our brains, everything from our mood to our ability to handle stress, right? And so one of the beauties of the way that we think about Euphorics is that while we have done a bang-up job thinking about our gut, right? There's kimchi, there's kombucha, there's probiotics. We've thought about this a lot in the health space. We have not thought about the other elements that are critical for feel-good mood, for facilitating mood, which is actually the brain. The brain always gets left out. And so the way that we tackled this was first and foremost through the gut. We have many ingredients in here that are incredible for that. Of course, we're introducing, again, we have some ginger, we have passion flower, we have oak extract. It's very smoky. We wanted it to take on a bit of a brandy essence. So you're going to get cinnamon, licorice, you're going to get smoked salt, you're actually going to get a little bit of vanilla bourbon. And then on the top end, again, to connect the gut and the mind, we're incorporating nootropics like L-tryptophan. You do have very, very small amounts of melatonin in there, only enough to trigger a natural facilitation of melatonin.
I love it. Well, we're going to get to try this one, and I'm actually going to pair it with some oat milk, which I'm excited about. So again, this one calls for 1.5, so I have this perfectly here. There we go. And this one wouldn't need ice, right? You would say this would probably be better a little warm.
I love this one frothed with oat milk, and then I'll add some cinnamon. So as a reminder, none of the bottles have sugar in them. So if you like something a little bit sweet before bed, the oat milk is a nice touch. You can add a little bit of like a flavored creamer, like you might to an evening hot cocoa or an evening hot toddy.
Smell and then everything in here. The cinnamon is, I would definitely, like you, I would add a little extra cinnamon in here. This smells so good. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, especially for winter, to make it a little warm. It's just so soothing to the psyche. And the reason why we always stress oat milk is because oat is actually very soothing for the GI. So it actually does help to really physically relax.
So as consumers have become more health conscious this year, since the onset of this whole pandemic, why do you think it's so important to have options like this readily available for them in all service models, not just in these bars or these cafes? Why should people be carrying these in their restaurants?
You know, what we've seen, and this is something we tested early on, we launched in 2018. We initially designed, especially the glass experiences for the bar world, so they could understand really easily, okay, cool. So I understand that High Rhode is my base for my happy hour, my happy hour Kintails, as they lovingly refer to the mixed versions of these drinks. And I can add whatever I want on top as a bartender. And so for us, it was important to put it in a format that they understand. So getting those functionals down to 2 ounces. That's usually what they're playing with when they reach for rum, when they reach for vodka. And so from a service perspective, it already fits what they're doing. From a guest perspective, you know, your guests are becoming so much more cognizant of what they're putting in their bodies, especially now, right? So we're thinking about immunity. We're thinking about just health in general, right? We're trying to stay within our regimen, whether you're keto or attempting to, you know, incorporate less sugar, less alcohol, certainly less toxins in general. People are asking for these. You know, they're actually coming into establishments seeking them. And so, you know, what we like to do is just drop off product to some of our favorite restaurants and say, go play. You know, we'll do a bunch of education sessions, and then they just kind of have fun with them and craft their own. So it still allows you as a restaurant to build your own brand around, you know, just basically a new tool in the arsenal.
I mean, I literally haven't seen anything like this. A lot of the, like you were saying, the mocktails, it's to mimic, and they have all those added sugars, and it's just to mimic the taste. It's not really to have something that's beneficial for you.
Yes.
So this is, I love this. I love this.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, it was awesome hanging with you, Brittany. Thanks again for having me.
And thank you to our audience for watching the show today. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and you smash that bell for more great content. If you have a great idea for an up-and-coming episode, please send an email over to producer@foodabletv.com. Well, we'll catch you next time right here on Taste Kitchen.